Thank you for watching the Disbursement and Payments portion of the Cal Grant Regional Trainings. Throughout this presentation, you will notice these icons. They are there to let you know of additional resources that are available for you. These resources can be found on the Commission's website or in your Web Grants portal. For the disbursement of Cal Grant funds, there are two types: term advance and supplemental payments. First, we will talk about the term advance. A term advance may be sent to an institution at the start of the term. This advance is a percentage of the previous year's reconciled term amount. Currently, term advances are set at 95%. However, not all schools receive a term advance. There are various reasons why a school may not receive a term advance. If a school is new to Cal Grant or was ineligible in the prior year, they will not receive an advance because they have no prior year reconciled amount. If a school is considered at risk due to audit findings, a change in structure, or some other reason, term advances can be suspended. Here is an example of a 95% term advance. In the fall term 2020, CSAC City College reconciled $1,420,000. So for fall term 2021, we will send City College a term advance of $1,349,000. This will provide funding to begin paying students without delay once their eligibility is confirmed. Let's take a look at the supplemental payment process. The second method for schools to receive Cal Grant funds is through supplemental payments. These payments are based on the student payments posted after the term advance has been disbursed. Looking at this example of City College, if their fall advance is $142,500, but they posted in total $150,000, the Commission would then process $7,500 as supplemental funds. Each week when payments are posted, the Commission will process supplemental funds, and schools should have funds in less than 2 weeks. There are two ways to report Cal Grant payments. Payments can be reported manually and directly to the Cal Grant roster in Web Grants. This may be the standard process for a small school or for schools that usually upload but need to make an adjustment to a record. Most often, manually reported payments immediately reconcile as long as your campus still has remaining Cal Grant funds. The most common payment reporting process is the batch upload. Schools can report payments for large numbers of students all at once by creating a batch upload file. The file specifications are located in the Help link in Web Grants. Most schools that use this process have their financial aid management systems pre-programmed with our file specifications. This allows for a seamless process of exporting the data in the correct file format for uploading into Web Grants. It also allows for importing the resulting grant roster file after we process the upload over the weekend, which is available the following Monday morning. All payments reported during the week are reconciled during the weekend. The payment reported will remain in an AP, accepted payment, or AA, accepted adjustment status until the reconciliation process occurs. All accepted payments and adjustments are processed over the weekend, and once the weekly reconciliation process runs, the APs or accepted payments change into RPs, reconciled payment, and AAs will change to RAs, reconciled adjustment. Now we will talk about payment and adjustment policies. Here are the general rules for payment and adjustment policies. Student enrollment status is locked in at Census for payment. Payment should be disbursed based on enrollment status at the census date or its equivalent, and institutions should follow their policy regarding census dates. This chart shows when the initial payment was made and what enrollment status the payment should be based on. If the initial payment is made before census, schools should use the student's current enrollment status at the time of payment. If this method is used, schools must confirm the student's status at the census date to ensure the enrollment is still the same. If the enrollment status has changed, the school will need to update this information in Web Grants and adjust a payment accordingly. If payment is made at census and after census, Schools should use the enrollment status at their census date to determine payment. If it is after census due to an extenuating circumstance, so for example, if a student is added to the school's roster or becomes eligible for payment after one of the following situations, then schools will use the enrollment status at the time the school is ready to pay the student. These situations include the competitive recycle, later completion of verification, or a late school change initiated by the student or CSAC. If payment is made after the term has been completed, the school will use the enrollment status at the time of the completed term. If the student is taking a late start class, then the school will need to establish a secondary census date for these late start classes. Secondary census must be applied consistently for all students in the program. In regards to repeat courses, when a student repeats a course, they may receive payment for any course that has yet to be successfully passed. Once a course has been passed, payment disbursement can only occur for one retaking of that course. Institutions are required to establish and maintain a written refund policy that includes the Cal Grant program. This policy should specify how to calculate the refund and how to determine the portion of the payment to be returned to the Commission on behalf of the state. If you determine a student is eligible to keep funds, the school will need to adjust the enrollment status, full-time, three-quarter time, or half-time, that charges the least amount of eligibility, but will allow for the determined dollar amount to be paid in the system. The dollar amount cannot exceed the tuition charge or exceed the adjustment amount for enrollment. At the Commission, summer terms are considered as a trailer to the academic year. Any payments made during a summer term will use the same amount of eligibility that a fall, winter, or spring term payment would use. This means that a student award eligibility will be accelerated in comparison to a student that is paid during traditional terms only. New Cal Grant awardees are eligible for summer payments in their first award year. There are two types of summer enrollment options, mandatory and discretionary. Mandatory summer enrollment is traditionally associated with year-round schools. This is due to their structure in which attendance for summer term is required as part of their degree program. Schools communicate this using the college cost estimate that each school is required to submit each year. In doing so, the Commission can pre-program the school's roster to automatically populate the summer term option for every student appearing on their roster. Discretionary summer terms is the most common summer enrollment option. It is found at most traditional schools. The summer term is not required attendance at these schools. Because of this, the summer term is not automatically populated on the school's roster and must be added manually for each student. This can be done by selecting the summer term drop-down that is located under the spring term on the roster. This drop-down appears usually during the month of May. Mandatory summer enrollment affects Cal Grant B and C. For Cal Grant B tuition and fees, any terms that begin July 1st or later may allow a sophomore student to receive a summer tuition and fees payment. A manual payment will need to be processed after the access payment has been made using the roster or upload process. This is due to the system still seeing the student as EL1, in which the system will only allow for access until the student is renewed for the following academic year. For Cal Grant C books and supplies, students may receive a summer payment preceding their first year as a Cal Grant awardee. This too is a manual payment process, as summer is treated by web grants as a trailer, not a header term. Eligibility adjustments are reflected in web grants after manual payment has been processed. Competitive recycle is a process in which we take the unused or unpaid competitive awards and reallocate them to the next cohort of students that just missed the initial cutoff for competitive awards. This is done in an effort to ensure two things. First, that all awards are fully paid and in the hands of students that are attending school, and second, with full utilization, the Commission is able to justify to the state government for additional funds to be added to the competitive award program. This translates to the Commission being able to make more award offers, reaching more of our student population. Awards are not withdrawn if the codes you see here are reported before the recycle process is initiated. We want to point out that the FI code is no longer a placeholder and awards are being withdrawn. The FI code will no longer hold a new competitive award, and our goal is to pay 100% of all competitive awards offered, so therefore students will be withdrawn if an FI is reported. Now we will talk about reporting payments. Some of the best practices that you can do as a school is to ensure that you are clearing all verification flags prior to reporting any payments. This ensures that students are being properly processed with the correct education levels, which correlates with the correct award eligibility and payment types, that is, access only or tuition and fees and access. It also ensures that you clear any AB 840 holds that may be in place for students processed in our Transfer Entitlement Program or the E2 students. If payments are made before verifications are complete, some payments may be rejected by the system and require the verification to be complete before the payment is processed. Schools only need to report payments for students once per term, unless the student's enrollment status changes at Census and an adjustment is needed. If the school uses the grant roster file upload process, the school should only submit new payment and adjustments in each file. Once reported, students should be removed from any subsequent file submissions. Lastly, schools should be checking their accept/reject reports weekly to ensure that their transactions are being processed successfully. And if not, this report will give the necessary information to make corrections so the transaction can be resubmitted. Education level verification is the process in which schools verify the education level of newly awarded Cal Grant awardees. This process allows for the Commission to assign the correct number of years of eligibility for the Cal Grant award. Verification should be completed prior to the first Cal Grant payment. Verification is not required for two groups of students: first time never attended college and Cal Grant C recipients. Each school will use their own internal policy regarding the determination of education level for reporting purposes. Education level determines a student's maximum eligibility on their newly awarded Cal Grant. Maximum Cal Grant eligibility is 400% or 4 full-time years. Additional eligibility is provided for teaching credential programs, mandatory 5-year programs, and Cal Grant B for foster youth students. We have additional training regarding education level, Cal Grant payment codes and scenarios, reports, tools, and customizing your roster. Please check out our CSAC website for more information to sign up for these trainings. We encourage everyone to engage with us on social media because we have a dedicated team working on keeping posts updated and relevant to the time of the year. Thank you for watching this video of the disbursement and payments portion of the regional trainings. If you have any questions, please contact school support by phone or email.